Number 1. The legend of rogue waves. Sailors have long told stories about massive waves that appear out of nowhere, twice the size of anything else, snapping ships in half. Scientists called them liars. Then came New Year's Day, 1995. The Dropner oil platform in the North Sea recorded the impossible. An 84-foot wave appeared suddenly in the middle of normal seas. Instruments measured it, proving the sailors right. Since then, satellite technology has proven that rogue waves are very real and happen more often than we thought about, once every 10,000 waves. Scientists now think they are caused by wave focusing. This happens when multiple wave trains meet at just the right moment, combining their energy to stack up into one massive wall of water. The scary part is that these waves are almost impossible to predict. It makes you wonder how many ships that simply vanished without a trace were actually victims of these silent, wandering walls of water. The ocean is scarier than we thought. Number 2. The boiling river. For centuries, people in the Amazon told stories about a river so hot it could kill you. Scientists said it was impossible because there were no volcanoes nearby to heat it. But in 2011, geoscientist Andres Russo decided to check it out. He found exactly what the legends described. The water temperature reaches 91 degrees Celsius, hot enough to give you third-degree burns in seconds. But how the water is being heated by a massive fault system deep underground. Hot water from deep in the earth rises up through cracks in the rocks, creating a giant natural hot water system. The river is about 4 miles long. Animals that fall in are literally cooked alive. Local shamans have known about this river for generations and consider it a sacred place of healing. So while science said a boiling river was geologically impossible, the locals just kept cooking their dinner in it. It's a perfect reminder that sometimes local legends know more about geography than textbooks do. Number 3. The Mapinguari. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, indigenous tribes tell stories about a terrifying creature called the Mapinguari. Legend says it has long claws and a terrible smell. For years, scientists dismissed this, but then they started finding evidence. Paleontologists discovered that giant ground sloths lived in South America until relatively recently. These weren't cute little tree sloths. These were massive beasts that could stand 20 feet tall on their hind legs. They had huge claws and were covered in thick fur that probably harbored smelly bacteria. The most recent remains date to around 10,000 years ago. It is very likely that ancient humans saw these creatures and the memory was passed down as the legend of the Mapinguari. So the Mapinguari wasn't a demon from hell, it was a giant ground sloth. But honestly, if you saw a 20-foot tall, bad-smelling monster in the dark jungle, you wouldn't care about the difference. You'd just run. Number 4. The Wendigo. Native American tribes told stories about a creature called the Wendigo. Legend says it was a human who transformed into a monster after eating human flesh, becoming always hungry. Scientists now study a real condition called Wendigo psychosis. This is where people develop an intense craving for human flesh even when normal food is available. The most famous case was in 1878. A trapper named Swift Runner killed and ate his entire family during winter. He claimed he was possessed by the Wendigo, even though other food was available. Modern psychiatrists recognize this as a culture-bound syndrome. It's a mental illness that only appears in certain cultural contexts, turning a myth into a medical reality. In a way, the reality is scarier than the myth. You can run from a monster in the woods, but you can't run from a mental illness that makes your own brain tell you that your family looks delicious. Number 5. The Kraken. For centuries, sailors told stories about a massive sea monster that could drag entire ships to the bottom. Most people wrote these off as drunk sailors seeing things, but modern scientists know giant squids are real and can grow longer than a school bus. In 2004, scientists finally managed to photograph a live one 3,000 feet deep in the ocean. The photos confirmed the legends. While they might not sink ships, they are terrifying. Scientists find massive sucker marks on sperm whales all the time. Think about that. These giant squids are regularly fighting with sperm whales, one of the largest predators on Earth. The ocean is basically a giant wrestling ring for monsters. For centuries, we mocked sailors for their tall tales. But it turns out the deep ocean really is filled with nightmares the size of school buses. Maybe we should start listening to the guys who actually go out there. Number 6. The Green Man of Pennsylvania. In 1981, people near Pittsburgh reported something weird. They kept seeing a glowing green man walking along dark roads at night. Most thought it was just a creepy urban legend, but it was real. His name was Raymond Robinson. As a child, a terrible electrical accident destroyed his face, taking his eyes and nose. To avoid people staring and being cruel, Raymond chose to stay hidden inside during the day. He only went out for long walks at night. Because of his severe injuries and skin grafts, his skin had a greenish tint that seemed to actually glow in the moonlight, hence the name Green Man. Locals also called him Charlie No-Face. While many feared him, some teenagers were kind. They would drive out to the dark roads and give him cigarettes and beer in exchange for a chat. Raymond walked those roads for decades until he died in 1985. The monster in the dark wasn't a ghost or an alien. He was just a lonely man who wanted some fresh air and a friend. Number 7, the Amazon Warriors. Ancient Greek myths told of a tribe of fierce warrior women who fearlessly battled men. They were the most terrifying warriors of the ancient world. For a long time, modern historians laughed at these stories. They said, women warriors impossible. They dismissed the Amazons as just a Greek fairy tale invented to scare men. But in the 1990s, the laughter stopped. Archaeologists in Russia started uncovering hundreds of ancient graves. These graves contained women, but they weren't buried with jewelry. They were buried with sword spears and war horses. The bones told a violent story. They had battle injuries, cracked ribs, and skulls, proving these women didn't just carry weapons for show. They used them in deadly combat. Carbon dating placed them exactly when the Greeks were writing about them. So the Greeks weren't writing fantasy novels, they were writing war reports. The Amazon warriors were real and they were lethal. Number 8, the Ebu Gogo. On the island of Flores, locals have legends about the Ebu Gogo, small hairy people who were about 3 feet tall. They ran fast, murmured to each other, and loved stealing food. Scientists ignored this as folklore until 2003. That's when archaeologists found a shocking discovery in a cave on Flores, the bones of a tiny human species called Homo floresiensis. Most people call them Hobbits. They match the legends perfectly, 3 feet tall, long arms, short legs. They weren't monkeys. They were a distinct human species that used tools and hunted. The craziest part. They lived as recently as 50,000 years ago. In evolutionary terms, that is yesterday. It means modern humans and these hobbits shared the planet for a long time. The legends say they were hunted to extinction for stealing too much food. It gives you chills to realize that our ancestors didn't just imagine mythical creatures, they actually lived
I
next door to them.
understand.
Number 9, the Green Children of Woolpit. Imagine you're a farmer in medieval England. Suddenly, 2 children crawl out of a wolf pit, but they aren't normal. Their skin is completely green. They spoke a gibberish language and refused to eat anything. Eventually, the villagers found the only thing they would eat: raw beans. The boy died, but the girl survived, lost her green color, and learned English. She told a magical story they came from St. Martin's Land, a place of eternal twilight where everyone was green. For centuries, this was England's favorite fairy tale, but modern science is a buzzkill. The kids likely had chlorosis, also known as green sickness. It's a form of anemia caused by malnutrition that actually turns skin green. Once the girl ate normal food, she turned pink again. And the Twilight Land. Probably just the dark, dense forest they wandered through after getting lost. So no aliens, no magic. Just 2 sick, hungry kids who really like beans. That's all for today. If you enjoyed these nightmares, please like, share, and subscribe right now. If you don't, I will personally send the smelly Mapinguari to hide under your bed tonight. Thanks for watching.